Hey, you see where we are at the moment? No, because you've never been here? Oh my God, guys, you really have to come to Tasmania. It's the one site, Mount Wellington. And the reason that we're here today is to discuss the big news, which I think you've all heard, is Kirby Air Ride 2 is coming out. It is confirmed. I think that I didn't know what it was, frankly, but the point is, I'm very excited. And I'm also excited about these tariffs.
It's very windy out here.
Did you see Trump coming out with his usual menu? This is how much Europe's ripping us off, and I'm only going to rip them off 50% less, folks. It's so good. I love how as soon as he's president, everything just gets so much more car salesman-y, to the point that the White House is just a car sales lot. On the whole, though, did you see how much Australia's getting affected? 10% on everything, folks. And when you look at Vietnam and Cambodia, god damn, we got off pretty easy. What, is he still pissed off about the Vietnam War? What, Cambodia didn't suffer enough? Why are they getting slapped with 50? Look, I'll say this. There is some benefits to the ANZUS Treaty. Like, we seriously got off pretty damn lightly. And I gotta say, now that they're blanket and they're this big. I was reading some economists talking about this. Did you know that this is one of the only fields where there is almost universal consensus that putting up tariffs is not a good idea, especially when no one else is doing it. Everyone else is just letting it come forth, which means, this is the prediction, there is going to be a massive surplus of goods that are no longer going to the United States. And so that means that prices everywhere else are going to drop. This is going to be good for our cost of living. I don't understand how this has happened. America is punching itself in the face. So that's on our end. Pretty good deal for us. And then Trump apparently told Albanese, look, if you get us an even better deal, then you won't get cheaper goods. And here was the better deal for them, yeah? They wanted to get rid of all of our biosecurity checks in Australia. So it is just that episode of The Simpsons, and you have all those bullfrogs eating our crops.
What? That's an odd name. I'd have called them Chazwazzers.
That's what they wanted for Australia. That was number one. Tough thing to pass up, as well as when you add this to it, they also wanted to get rid of the news media bargaining code, which I'm not being ironic when I say this. Almost worth taking the deal for that. Come on. That would have made the Sydney Morning Herald go bankrupt. And, enemy of my enemy. I'd be pretty happy with that. And then the final one was, and you have to get rid of the PBS as well. And we'll get into what the PBS stands for right now, actually. It stands for the Pharmaceutical Benefit Scheme. This is something that makes life-saving medicines that usually cost thousands of dollars in civilized countries like the United States. Here in Australia, we've got our own car salesman stuff coming. You ready? $30. And if you re-elect Albo, it's going to go down to 25. Isn't that an incredible system? It was originally set up by Curtin, but then it was blocked. Isn't this incredible? History repeats itself. By Big Pharma in Britain. How foreboding is that? And then, even more cyclically, then Menzies comes in, he puts in a shitter version of the PBS. It's exactly what they did with broadband. PBS 2.0. And then, after that, successive Labor governments have been trying to expand it over the years and done so very successfully. So that tradition is continuing on with Anthony Albanese, and Big Pharma in America now is really pissed off at that, to the point that they wrote a letter to Trump saying, can you include the PBS in your trade tariffs? It is honestly astonishing how naked the agenda is for the Republicans once they're in. It is just so blatantly pro-corporate. They get a letter from one of the big industries and then they act on it. Like that. That service that not even the Liberals here can guarantee. So this was the ultimatum the United States gave us. Introduce a bunch of pests and plagues that you are uniquely shielded from by being a continent island. Very tough. Also, get rid of the news media bargaining code. Happy about that. And then finally, make poor people die again. Look, you drive a hard bargain, Donald, but I think we'll go with the cheaper goods. Also, Make Poor People Die Again is better than the hat that we came up with, which is Make Dutton Opposition Leader Again, that confoundingly is selling incredibly well. So make sure that you get yours before we run out of stock, because that is limited to the stock that we have, and then we'll order more. Come on, as if you don't want to wear that on election day and then chuck it in the ocean. Speaking of Dutton, how good is his response to saying that Anthony Albanese didn't do enough? He got us one of the best deals in the world. Pretty shameful, frankly. What would you have done, Dutton? I know Gina Reinhardt, and Gina Reinhardt knows Elon Musk, so I could have a 3 degrees separate conversation with Trump. Yeah, okay, cool, but seeing as this happened across the world, I don't think that you calling in a favour from a mate who wants to call in a favour from a mate would have got us any lower than the lowest tariffs. That's just my personal opinion. Honestly, I'm really liking optically how this looks for Anthony Albanese. Don't you? He gets to come out and say, it's very disappointing. We're always going to stand up for Australia. And he, as we were discussing in our previous tariff video, has that image now. He has the image of the I'm going to stand up for Australia. It's the complete reverse of what's been going down for the last 50 years. Liberals have always had the mantle of the ones that are going to be like tough on defense, tough on our enemies. But now America's our enemy. And so it's got to go to the more cucky party to be the ones that are going to be tough all of a sudden. Isn't that weird? I gotta say, Canadians did exactly the right move of, we're slightly up in the polls, bam, snap election. We're just lucky that ours more or less is a snap election because of the timing of it. Thank you, Donald Trump. You have given this country so many gifts in one day. I'm serious about this. You, sir, are the best president for Australia's interests since whoever got us out of World War II. I'm gonna have to check up on my history. And also, if you live on this beautiful island that really has fuck all going on for it economically, but wow, you've got some nice rocks, eh? Make sure that you come see my show in Launceston. There's still some tickets for that. The Hobart one's sold out. I'll probably come back at some point later this year. I'm also going to Sydney, Melbourne, Katoomba, and those are the only ones that I can remember off the top of my head. Tickets below. Also get the hat. Shows about UFOs, and what the hell is that? Oh, and sorry for the wind, but we don't control nature.